Hi everyone, my name is Marina Reilly, and this is my 16th year teaching. And I'm going to show you today about how I like to um, post to and collect artwork through the Google homepage. Hello, so first thing you need to do is make sure that you have a Google account. In order to do so, my school district actually provides this one, but I was able to make one with a separate account that I made just for this video alone. So I went to google.com and just made sure that I signed up. This is just a test page that I've made and a fake email. And then you can manage your account and make sure that you go to your waffle over here and then locate where it would say classroom. The icon is a yellow border and it's surrounded, looks like a blackboard actually, with little figures in the middle. So as soon as you get to that, you'll be ready to start building your place to collect the artwork that you make in class. So you can actually customize the class that you're in. I believe if you have a educator account, since the account that I've made up is one that is from a personal email, I don't have all the capabilities. So yours might look a little bit different when customizing, but you can change the name of your class and go ahead and access any of the uh, Google Classroom codes in order to invite your students in. Another way is to collect all of their emails that are in your class and go ahead and click on people, and then you would add them to the student portion of that account. Next, I would have the students complete the work. So whatever project it might be a drawing project, clay project. I like to have them not only take photos of the final piece, but also of all the additional things that we might have done for the project. That could include things like the sketches or the color test paper, art history, anything involved that led them up to the final project. I like them to collect it on one doc, and I'll show you how I go ahead and add that to the assignment. Hello again. I opened up a different test account that I've made that is under one that has more teacher capabilities. So this one should be a little bit closer to if you're making your own Google Classroom using this, what yours might look like. The customize button over here was what I was mentioning earlier as far as coming up with a theme or appearance. And then you can also go ahead and access the gear key where you can change the name of the class, and you have the invite link if you'd like to add students that way. Otherwise, I'm going to draw our attention now over to the classwork tab. So in here is where you would be officially collecting the artwork. I find that it's really helpful if students are already made aware of the ins and outs of Google Classroom. So I sometimes like to take a few minutes out of the class period, but it's pretty self-explanatory and they're pretty good at finding their way through Google Classroom itself. I'm going to go ahead and click the create button, and I like to make it an assignment when I'm collecting their artwork. They've had some updates to this, and it's been a little bit more helpful posting to multiple classes. So if you have the same class doing the same work, once you're in an assignment, you can really start to decide what works best for you and your students and walk them through the process of collecting their artwork. I'm going to go ahead and click on the title for the assignment, and I'm just going to change it to watercolor. This is an example. I always like for my instructions to just include the elements that I'm going to be looking for and the individual maybe pieces that are going to come together to form the project. So one, let's say your color test paper. On this, they might be trying out to see how colors interact. They might be just doing some small swatches, maybe seeing what happens if you add more or less water, some watercolor techniques. This would be a separate piece from the actual final project. Two might be a sketch, the initial layout of how they want to have their piece, what it looks like in pencil. Three, final project. And depending on the level that you're working with, maybe four might be something like art history, or maybe even a fifth could be a write-up, discussion about their piece and everything they might have learned, maybe their own take on the project. I like to kind of include this. It gives me a little bit of feedback from the students as far as the project goes. also add in any other pieces that you think would be helpful to students in this area, maybe a quick write-up about the project. Maybe you might even want to describe what each of these might look like. So for instance, I could write next to sketch, your original outline of the project. This might help them so that if they have any questions, they don't have to wind up putting it into the private comments. All right, once you have your instructions and the title written out, I'm going to go ahead down here and look at the attach button. What I like to do next is I like to provide students a place to post their work. However, most of them have become pretty comfortable with the turn in button, and I'll get to that in a few moments. But I like to click on create, and that's going to go ahead and open up another tab that will be my doc. I'm now on the opened document that just happened when I clicked at the bottom of the assignment itself. Over here, I like to title the document with whatever the project might be. So I'm just going to call it watercolor. I'll show you in a moment that it's automatically going to rename it for each student if I make a copy for each student. So I'm just going to call it watercolor project. And then I leave it blank. This encourages students, if they would like to use the doc, they're more than welcome to use it. It's available. If they would prefer to use another thing like a slide deck, they can build their own titling the document is that it will show up the same in your drive as well as your student's drive, so it's easy to locate along with their name in case things get lost, because I know sometimes drives get a little bit crowded. So over here it would say, instead of untitled document, it would say watercolor project. I just don't think the page is refreshed yet. Super important. You're going to want to make sure to change it from students can view file, unless it's just a photo that maybe it's an art history piece you would like to post, to make a copy for each student. If they can edit the file, I find I don't use that one too much because then I feel like the students start overwriting each other. So I'm going to go ahead and click make a copy for each student. And then they will each get their own version of the project. It will just be the blank doc along next to the assignment. To your assignment. For instance, if you have any art history images or maybe a YouTube clip, those can all be added down here at the bottom with the attachment links that are provided down here. Now we're going to take a look over here where we can customize where and when and the amount of points that this project is going to be worth. Right now it's under art virtual that I put over here. And then there's also a test class that I can post this to. If I decide to post to both, it will give me the option of if I would like to customize the time that I would like them each to post. And this is great if you have classes that start at different times during the day, obviously. You don't want something posting and then the students can access it before you've even introduced the project. So I like to do it depending on that class that day, when I'm going to be seeing them. I customize the time for each individual course. But for now, I'm just going to post it to this one project, to this one class called Art Virtual. And I can select all students. This way I know that all students will be able to access that assignment in their classwork tab. You can customize the amount of points you would like it to be. For instance, if you'd like it to be worth only 50 points for this one, or you can even make it ungraded. I like this if I'm collecting a homework assignment or something that I don't feel needs points attached to it. I can make it ungraded, and it can still count depending on if it's late or if they don't turn it in on time or missing. It'll still all count towards that credit. Otherwise, it could still be ungraded, but at least they have a timeline that they can follow. Then I would put in the due date and time. Let's just say October 12th. And then I can customize the time. Also, below my picture over here, there is the option of posting what topic it could be connected to. as well as adding a rubric. If you have a rubric that you follow that you want children to be able to see and understand why they received the points that they did, this is a great place to put it in, and they can go ahead and refer back to it as they review their grade for their project. Um, so that's pretty much everything that has to go along with posting and making an assignment. Now we're going to take a look at what happens after I actually officially post it. From here, I'm just going to go ahead and click assign. You also have the option of scheduling or just saving the assignment if you're not quite ready yet to post it. Maybe you want to edit it a little bit further, or like I said, maybe you want to post it for when the class actually starts. But you have those options as well. Right next to the assign button, there is a little drop down that you can select. So let's take a look at the watercolor project that I just posted. As you can see, it says the due date over here, and then I can still edit it from this page if I'd like to. I've switched back again to the student account that I made. So over here, you're going to see it's going to look a little bit different, and the layout is probably going to have a little bit different of a look as well. So what I've done is, now that I've become a student in the class, you can see how it looks from student view to see the posted assignment. It was posted at 9:02 a.m. So I'm going to go ahead and click on classwork, or you can click down here on the stream in order to take you into the next window. I decided to click on the classwork tab. Again, either way will get you to the same place. My own children, when when they had virtual school, and their teacher was collecting their work, I know that there was certain buttons up here that they could click, and they could actually see the other students' work within the classroom. I believe it said view classroom drive in the class drive folder over here. I don't have a lot of experience with that. For me, I mainly work with just the assignments themselves. But again, it's all up to how the teacher feels the students would best benefit from this. So I'm going to go ahead and click on watercolor. It's the one that I just posted, marked due October 12th. And when I click on it, it just has a drop down that I can see what was listed for the project itself. And then you can see down here, like I said, it will automatically give me my own version of the Google Doc, the blank Google Doc that I made with my name attached to it. So if I do make anything, if I do add anything to that particular doc, it will show up in my drive as well as the student's drive, with looking the same, so it's easy to locate if need be. In order to access the actual file, the actual assignment, and be able to add my own work to it and edit it, whatever I need to do as a student, I'm going to click on View Assignment, because in this mode, it's kind of challenging to be able to add your work. And it's just nice to have this opened up. This is the layout that the students see as far as when they're really ready to turn in their project. I know the amount of points. This is the teacher name over here, when it was posted, the name of the project, the class that it's in, as I highlight over here. Um, any class comments. So that is if the students in the class maybe are having difficulty accessing something. I've noticed that they write it in class comments, like, I don't know where the attachments are, or whatever. Um, it may be, that's a good thing to write in class comments that the whole class can see. If it's individual to the students' project themselves, I like to work in private comments, and those open up, but you have to actually click on add comment to Marina Reilly, who would be the teacher, and then a private comment that is about the student's individual work. I find that that works out easiest for the students to use when it's about their particular project. So class comments, again, is going to be more for using for the general class, maybe something that might help out the whole class as a whole. And then private comments is the individual student's project. Maybe I even like to write little positive comments in there sometimes when I realize they really went above and beyond. Whatever the students feel most comfortable using, I like to give them that option. Anything in the Google homepage. For instance, if students would prefer to do a Google slide deck in order to submit their work, they would go to their Google Apps and open up Slides. I believe it's a little yellow orange toned block. There it is, with a little white rectangle in the middle. Um, they like to add slides. It's very similar to a PowerPoint deck. And if they would prefer to submit that way, that's great. The only thing I ask students is to not put a link to whatever doc or slides they have made in the blank doc that I've provided. What that does is usually if they're not shared properly, and then I can't access them, so I have to actually go in and request access, and then they give me the access, but then it floods my email. So, on that note, what I suggest to them is you can either directly put your work into the Google Doc that is provided here, or if they click this button, add, and then they can put their slides or their own doc or whatever they've made for the assignment right attached directly to the assignment above turn in. It automatically gives me access to it and I don't have to request access. So I prefer to have them submit and turn in their work that way. Right now, I don't have anything selected to turn in, but at least you get the idea of what it might look like from the student's angle when you do actually turn in the work. So if I decide to add my own, or if I'm putting anything onto the doc, like screenshots or photographs of something that I've made onto the doc that the teacher has provided, I can go ahead and click turn in. And then the teacher would be able to go to her page or his page and be able to grade the assignments then. I've switched back over to the teacher account, and now you can see that I have one artwork turned in. So if I go ahead and click on it, it is the one over here from my student account. You can go ahead and open up the attached documents and then give credit based on how much the student has completed. And then you click return. Once the project has been graded, I then remind students that it's time to post their work online. Now, because I work with younger students, I don't have them publish their website, but I like to use sites.google.com, and that would also be located in your waffle. Typically, I have students come up with a page title, um, and I have them write usually my name. I'm sorry, first name, space, last name, apostrophe S, art, portfolio. And then over here, if they enter their site name, it's easy for both of us again to find this in our drives. If they do last name, comma, first name, and then I usually like to have them put the period number. So let's say period 5. Once I click out of where it says the title, it should automatically label it up here as well. And again, it would be easier to find it in both the student and the teacher's drive if need be. Um, then we can move on to decorating and customizing. Again, teacher preference on how you want to go about decorating the banner. For me, I like to have students put either back here some an art piece that they personally have made or a photograph that they have taken themselves. So I say that they're the photographer for this. If they want to use either of those, they're going to go over here to change image and then upload. They also have the select image, and they do have quite a few pre-selects that are free to use. However, like I said, I like this to be really personalized to students so they can either choose to do an artwork, like I said, that they've made themselves or a photograph that they personally have taken. When you do upload a photograph, it tends to automatically adjust for readability. I actually like the brightness of it, so I undo that feature. But again, that's a personal choice. You can also customize the font here. As soon as you highlight anything, you can see you can change the color, underline, italicize, bold, and it gives the students even more choice in the matter as far as what the overall look of their site. And I do give a grade for this building a site at the end of a cycle. Um, so that is how I work with mainly the banner image for where I collect their artwork and their digital portfolios. Again, I do not have students publish these. If you don't, it will just live in a drive as long as the account is live. However, if if you do have students that are not minors and you'd like to publish, the publish button is over here. For me, like I said, we just leave them unpublished, and I'll explain in a moment how I go about grading them, because then they don't automatically get saved to me. However, um, you can then work in the open space down here. This white space is a great place to start adding work, but I like their homepage to actually be just a visual representation of themselves. So we use some other websites that you can build an avatar, and then I post that on the homepage and a little bio. Other than that, I leave the homepage pretty simple. Those are the only things I really like to put as like an intro page to their digital portfolio. When adding anything, whether it be to a separate page or to the home page, it's really simple. If you just double click over here in the white space and you get this little circle here, you can insert text, you can insert an image, you can upload, you can insert from Drive, or you can embed. The same options are over here. It's just personal preference, and then layout options are located below. As far as adding additional pages to this, you can select pages between insert and themes over here on the right hand side. So I'm just going to go ahead and click pages, and it's going to give me the home page. I'm actually going to just stop my webcam for a moment so you can see where the plus button would be. I'm going to click new page, and we'll title it watercolor. And there you notice it's going to pop up. I believe it's automatically going to show with whatever banner image you chose for the homepage, as long as you've already selected one. However, you can individually customize each consecutive page after you've designed the first one, and you actually build the additional pages. So you can see the difference between the homepage and now the watercolor page is titled. And then we can begin to discuss adding pieces to the watercolor page. This is going to be pretty similar to how we added, like I suggested, the avatar to the homepage. I'm just going to go ahead and double click down here in the open space. And then I can, depending on how I've taken my photo, go ahead and add the actual watercolor project. Now, if you would like to pull directly from the drive, that is also where the assignment would be, where I made the individual doc, sorry, for each student. You can go ahead and just upload that same doc. I like to have the students actually put images directly on here. I feel like it's a little easier to access. And this way, you know that all the share settings are also correct. So that's the way I like to have students put them on here. Now, I suggest to have everything from the assignment on the actual site, but if you only want to do the final project and make it look really special, again, it's all personal preference at how teachers feel like collecting the work. So again, you can see that this is my homepage for my site. Whenever I have students finish up their site, add anything they would like to add, I then like to grade them. And the way that I grade them is I will ask students to join a Google Meet. Usually I'll have one person from each table join the meet. And then the person that's presenting at the time, and I let them go in whatever order they want, will just click through the pages that they've made. For instance, they would click on their homepage, show their uh, digital representation of themselves. They would show the banner image that they chose. They would click on the additional pages that they've made for each project, and talk us through the final, maybe read out loud the write up that they might have written for the description of the project themselves in their own words. Um, but if students don't prefer to actually share that way, they can individually share it with me. You can see this little person plus button over here. It says share with others, and they'll share their projects directly with me. I usually get an email as a response to that. And then I can grade them that way. I can just respond back to the email with their credit, or you can make it an assignment on Google Classroom. And again, right above the turn in button where there's that add button, just like you would with a doc or a slide deck, they can add their their whole portfolio, their whole Google site right there. It is an option to add a Google site as a material. And then again, you can grade them right on the assignment itself, and they can see what they've received. Um, I tend to use that more for students that don't prefer to do a presentation, or there is another website that we use as teachers in my building, and we can see the student's screen. So if they want to just open it up on their main home screen, I can give them credit that way as well. Again, these are all different options on how you would like to collect it and give grades. As far as collecting the work, though, I find that Google Sites can keep everything pretty well organized, and it would live in their drive, and they can share it without having to publish it, which I also think is a benefit because I don't have my students publish their sites. I feel like that's a decision they can make later on. And as long as their account is live, it will live in their drive. And again, it's why I like to have everything organized by last name, comma, first name, because then if it's in my drive as well and they're sharing it with me, I can locate where theirs would be. Thank you again for watching. If you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to me. My email is marina.reilly@milburn.org, Marina.Reilly at Milburn, Millburn.org. And I'm going to be attaching a Google slide deck that also may help you out with the process of collecting the artwork. So thank you very much.